It's football and other F words. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go. All right. We got the Robert Saleh first impressions. We're going to tell you about the press conference, what we gleaned from the press conference.
Yeah.
We're also going to wrap up Senior Bowl practice with day 3. And don't forget, tomorrow we'll wrap up the whole week, do a little game preview. And we got a little Tavondre Sweat topic to get to on tomorrow's episode as well. But first, it's got Stoney Keeley next to me. Lions Ford is the reason why we're down here. LionsFord.net, Lewisburg, Tennessee. No matter where you are, they'll deliver to you. They'll find you the vehicle. They'll give you all the discounts that you qualify for on new vehicles. They have a good selection of pre-owned, reasonably priced. So make sure you guys go down to Lions Ford in Lewisburg, Tennessee. LionsFord.net is the number. Of course, we got the chat. We'll get some questions as well. Okay.
Hey,
so
real quick,
go
Zach,
ahead.
I just want to let everybody know home is where football takes us.
Home is where football takes us is what we heard just from a few. We only made it through, before we started the show, about 10 minutes of the 3HL interview. But guess what? 3HL has an exclusive interview with Robert Saleh. The actual clip of that is already up on the YouTube page here on 104.5 The Zone, so make sure you guys go see that. My hair is wild today.
If I took my beanie off, y'all would think that I am just a disgusting human being right now.
Okay, so
we've been outside all day.
There you go.
We've been working. We're working men.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
You said on our way in, while you're reading, I heard the Saleh press conference. I had my earbuds in.
Yeah.
You read the Saleh press conference.
I did.
And you said pretty much, essentially, that if what is said on the paper is true, we're going to fucking win some games.
On paper, this all looks really good. And mainly, I'm just speaking about the ideology behind Brian Dable, offensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, defensive head coach. Like, having a guy in there that, like, he just basically says, I want to fuck people up.
Yeah.
And having a defense that'll play fast, that'll reflect that attitude, but then also having having an offense that zigs where the rest of the NFL is going to zag. And I think, philosophically speaking, I kind of like the idea of going against the grain. Reading the quotes about how all of these guys running Shanahan-McVay stuff. And we said it on this show earlier in this week.
Don't say we. You said it on Monday.
But it did kind of feel like the candidates for coordinator that they were looking at kind of indicated that they wanted a departure from that. And I think the problem you start running into if you're just plucking a guy from the same system over and over, and this was something that Robert Saleh mentioned in the press conference, is like you start watching those offenses and they all look the same. So from a game planning standpoint, how difficult is it to really game plan week in and week out when you have the same fucking offense every week? And they all look the same, that you just have to account for different personnel strengths.
Well, okay, so this is word for word what he said.
Yeah.
We got a little transcript on how much difficulty of facing teams coached by Brian Dable, or Dabes, as he calls them. Kind of like Babes, but Dabes.
Was it Dabes or was it Dabs?
Well,
you heard it.
Well, see, that's the thing. In the transcript, it's spelled Dabs.
Yeah.
But he said Dabes. Dabes and Borgo.
Yeah.
And he's Bob.
And he's Bob.
And then there was some
I'm not going to call
other
him Bob.
name that was mispronounced that he tried to pronounce on the show that I definitely cannot even try to attempt to pronounce on 3HL. But he says, I think it's going to work great. There's a lot of layers to this one. First off, Kyle Shanahan is one of the biggest, best offensive minds in all football, period. And if you look at the NFL landscape right now, his offense and his influence is all over the league. Probably, I would argue, 80 to almost 90% of the league. And so Dabes is going to be different. So from a game planning standpoint, and I'm just speaking for myself as a defensive coach, you're going through, it just looks like every offense is the same. But when you play the Tennessee Titans, it's going to be different. And so there's a level of game planning that's going to have to change within a week. So that's first. Dabes has had a history of developing young quarterbacks in this league and college and the different stops that he's had. And he's touched many from experience to youth. He has a tremendous amount of experience with tremendous quarterbacks all over. There's a lot of benefits to what he does as a defensive guy, game planning against Dabes. I can tell you that he's always going to strain you both run and pass. He's going to find the run pass conflicts within your scheme for individual players. He's going to attack we're all adults. They wrote in crap, but it's shit. He's going to attack the shit out of it. He's special in that regard. He's a problem to go against. And not only this right here, which totally validates everything you said on Monday, which was crazy. Because when I'm listening to this, you're still sitting next to me in the bleachers, and I just am writing down my notes, and I'm like hitting you with my notepad so you will see it, because it's exactly what you said. And to me, that's a guy. When it talks about the game plan, right? That's what we talked about. What is the plan for Cam Ward? What is the plan? What is this master plan? It sounds like he had it pretty decided what the plan was. And the plan was that he was going to go with an offense that's 80 or 90% seen around the league.
Yeah, and I don't think people realize when we talk about time constraints how much I think. I'll put it this way. I'll give you guys a tip. John Gruden on YouTube has a video about like what is the week of an NFL coach like, and like day to day, what does he do? What is he responsible for? So when you go into weekly game planning, there are only so many hours in the day. And this goes for us, like in the draft, like, you know, we put together a pretty comprehensive draft guide, but there's a lot of film to watch, and we still only got to like 200 dudes last year.
Yeah.
So it takes time to really study tape to the point that you're comfortable in saying, I know this offense that we're playing. Well, if you're running what 80 to 90% of the league is running, then you're making it easy on your opponent to game plan for you, because they can essentially just watch some film, find the tweaks of what you do because the personnel is different, but understanding conceptually, you've eliminated a lot of work for your opponent to have to do, because they know they can just plug system to system, week to week. So that's why, I'm reading this transcript and I'm thinking this could actually work, because for one, I don't feel like timing and rhythm has been Cam Ward's strong suit. And that's a big component of these Shanahan-McVay offenses that so much of the league is running, timing and rhythm. So one, it exemplifies for me that they are willing to dig out and build an offense, which it kind of sounds too like, I don't know, just from the press conference, it's hard to tell, but it doesn't sound exactly like, oh yeah, we're going to go air raid or we're going to go Earhart Perkins. Like, it kind of sounds like they're looking to kind of build something out of several different concepts that's different. But when you do that, it's like, man, that is going to, teams aren't going to have enough time to adequately game plan for this Titans offense. And it's being tailored to the strengths of the quarterback to allow a little more flexibility in the vertical passing concepts, to open it up to leverage Cam Ward's creativity to make plays. I'm reading this and I'm like, man, this sounds like this is something that could really work for this team.
Well, I don't know if you caught it when you read it, and Team Ramrod kind of lets it loose here into the chat, but he said that they've talked for a few weeks.
I caught that too, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to bring that
that's
up.
That's in my notes right here, Dabes. And he goes, at first it says Dabes, because that's the first time he called him Dabes. And so now I'm going to be calling him Dabes for the rest of the way.
I wasn't going to bring it up because I don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Yeah,
I don't know
and
if
then it
that's
says
cool
talk to the
not.
last few weeks. So, I mean, again,
they've been in their bag.
When it comes to the plan that you're bringing to the table,
yeah,
it sounds like this was part of the plan. Like, it's really hard not to connect the dots to say that, okay, when you go back and you hear that Mike LaFleur is likely to stay.
Yeah.
And that was a big attachment to Robert Saleh, part of his staff. Oh, it's going to be Mike LaFleur. Oh, it's going to be Clay Kubiak. Or, oh, it's going to be this guy. And he's gone and talked to a guy that's been out of his coaching tree pretty much. And he's talked to him for the last few weeks. And I thought what was interesting is that pretty much what he said was that we trauma bonded, but we have great empathy for each other for what we went through up in New York.
Yeah, it was some tough years up there.
Right. And I saw someone talk about um, the succession plan, and he talked a little bit about the succession plan, and he said our succession plan will be made pretty clear when the offensive staff is fully fleshed out. So the offensive staff is not fully fleshed out, despite having a quarterback coach, offensive line coach, tight end coach,
Wide receiver coach,
wide receiver
running back
coach, and running back coach. There's pass game, run game coordinators. There could be assistant coaches. Shea Tierney and Luke
Analysts.
Stalker are two guys that I thought that could be the next man up. I mean, that's what it felt like. But to me, today seemed cemented for me that they obviously do have a plan.
Yes.
Now, we
yes.
don't know everything about that plan, but it's very obvious that when we heard that he had a game plan for Cam Ward, that wasn't just fluff and smoke from the front office, from the ownership to promote the hire. Again, he knew since October that he wanted to take this job, and he said that he did more research on the Titans than the Titans likely did on him.
Do you think I don't want to start anything crazy, but I'm just like asking questions. I'm just spitballing here. Is there a chance that Cliff Kingsbury could still join the staff?
Well, technically, I would say that there is possibly a chance because, I mean, depends on if he gets hired.
There. Yeah.
But if you have a senior offensive assistant, maybe there is a place there for him.
I mean, that would be pretty.
He tried to do the same thing up in New York, right? When he already had a Nathaniel Hackett, he wanted to bring in Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah. So I'm just like putting that little seed out there, like as a possibility, just to get as much coaching talent as possible around Cam Ward to build this thing out.
I mean, he was asked about why the Titans by Corey Curtis, and he starts it off saying, shamelessly, I did more research on them than they did on me. The people here are unbelievable. Very people forward. And
do you think Robert Saleh watched an episode of Football and Other F Words?
Maybe. If he was really doing true research, he should.
He should, yeah.
He
absolutely.
Should. For Bergonzi said what stood out for him is that he had a plan for everything, including development. And the succession plan is what he said. Look at the staff. We're not done yet. There's always going to be a fast track to being coordinators, but it's all about developing coaches. It's very cliche about developing players, but who are the coaches developing coaches and who are also developing the players?
That's the part that stood out to me.
And so I think that when you talk about it, sounds a lot like a guy. Pretty much, he said at the beginning, Teresa Walker asked the first question, what did you learn and all that stuff from your time? What are you going to do differently? He says, what didn't I learn?
Yeah.
Like there's no handbook there's no manual for being an NFL head coach. What didn't I learn my first go round? And I think we're seeing all this right here is that this is a guy that definitely is not going to want to make the same mistakes he did up there.
Yeah, absolutely. And being willing to stand up and admit that, own it, shows accountability. It shows a guy that's willing to learn. He strikes me as a very fiery, intense person and preaches accountability, and authenticity was a word that came up several times in the press conference as well. So I applaud him for that. And I think there shouldn't be
that's the most effective way to lead was authenticity.
So I don't think that should garner a lack of confidence in his ability to do so, to change. I mean,
he was asked by PK about all gas, no brakes, love and regard and stuff like that. And he says, words are words, but it's about the silent tape. We'll let the silent tape speak for us, not the mottos on the wall.
Yeah.
Essentially what he's saying. And Nick Suss said, how will we recognize the standard once the standard has been set and established? Well, first he said that to Jill Jelnick's question about culture. See, I even wrote down who all asked the questions.
Good for you.
He says you got to find people capable of fulfilling the vision. Effort, violence, character. He had another word in there that I missed out.
Did they bleep it? Probably.
No, I just couldn't hear it. Best teams coach themselves.
Ooh,
but it starts with us. So what he is essentially saying is that hey, It starts with us to lay down the culture, but by the time that we get this thing rolling,
Yeah.
the players will pick up the baton.
Man, and all of this, it sounds so Saban-esque to me because Nick Saban's big thing is the system. You develop the system and then you're just like replacing cogs as things move. And it just reminds me so much him understanding, Robert Saleh kind of understanding, like we've got to get the system and the standard in place and then everything else will take care of itself.
Okay, we're going to preach effort. We're going to preach strain or restrain. Probably strain, I guess, talking about straining the other team or straining yourself. That's the word. I thought that's what he said, but I was like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense for me. Basically, making sure these young men are actually capable of doing it. That's what builds culture. We'll always maintain that standard. I've always said the best coach teams are the teams that coach themselves. But in the beginning, it's going to come from us. And at a certain point, as this team becomes veteran and it takes off and it understands what the standard is, the players will maintain the standard. And at the end of the day, the standard will always be the standard, but starts with the people. And he goes, we'll always be all gas, no brake. But words are words, you know. It's always going to come back to the silent tape of what we show on tape. That's our resume. That's who we are. And so whatever word we use to identify what we want, it's all fun. But at the end of the day, it's the tape. The tape will always show everything.
Ultimately, you can say whatever you want to, but people are going to watch that tape and they're going to see it for themselves. And that's going to speak volumes about who you are more so than any mantra you can come up with. So, yeah, I'm ready to fucking pound my chest and bang my head through a wall or whatever the saying is.
And then let's see. There's one more thing. He did talk about the successful first season, and it's going to be about how they attack the moments, not the wins and losses. You can't control wins and losses and stuff like that. It's really
interesting outlook on that as well.
Yeah.
Because he mentions the ball bouncing a certain way.
Yeah, well, we don't want to get into that conversation, do we? Oh, man, where was this? So, all gas, no brakes, how to recognize the standard. This was actually the feel for the roster.
I don't remember that one off the top of my head, but I'm going to trust you as you scroll for it. Maybe a control F for a particular word.
Yeah, hold on. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
The couch.
Well, there it is.
Here we go. What it will look like when the standard is set. That was great podcasting. Already said it, man. They're going to pop off the tape. You're going to feel like you're on the field with them with the energy, the juice, the speed. That word again, the violence.
Yeah.
You're going to feel it from the living room. Sitting on your couch, you'll be able to feel this football team.
I mean, Jeffrey Simmons got to be Red Hulking somewhere reading that or hearing that.
All right, so here we go. Just real quick, what's up next? Coaches apparently report Monday. He said that they're going to establish and build the scheme. They're going to do roster evaluation, then get their player prospect tapes ready for Mike Bergonzi and all of them, or Borgo. And then they're going to work on the offseason schedule and get to it.
Man, it's time to get to work.
Time to get to work. Any last thing about the press conference you wanted that we didn't hit?
No. I'm just I'm a sucker, man. I'm always gonna come around because I'm still a fan of this team. And I'm all in at this point. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
I do approve of his conversation on analytics. He says analytics doesn't account for weather or Big Jeff versus a third string guard.
Yeah.
So
ain't
there
that
you go.
The truth?
All right, let's go into the National Day Senior Bowl practice. Before we get to the Senior Bowl practice, we could talk about the Senior Bowl and everything we've seen, courtesy of Lions Ford in Lewisburg, Tennessee, lionsford.net. Make sure you go there and get all your vehicle needs taken care of, whether it's getting an oil change, finding a part, whether it's needing a pre-owned car or a new car. They will help you at Lions Ford in Lewisburg, Tennessee. So National Day, most of National Day practice was distracted for me by the fact that I could see stuff happening, but I was listening to Robert Saleh. So I didn't get to see a lot of the National Day practice.
Yeah.
But I did get to catch, right when I put the earbuds down, Charles Demings Guy I talked about on
Redemption
the
Day.
Monday show finally showing up big time today. He had a PBU, I was told by Drew of Iron City Film, over in the back corner, and he was mirroring
He had a
wide
scoop and score.
receivers. Very smooth. He had what?
He had a scoop and score today.
He had a scoop and score today, so there you go. Really enjoyed seeing everything from Charles Demings that I got to see. What did you even sent me 16 Redemption Day, and 16 is Charles Demings' number. So what did you see from Charles?
Man,
Demings?
it's so awesome, and there's a story or two like this every year when we come down here of a guy that just kind of gets lost in the shuffle on day one, and then by the time you get around to day three, you're noticing an improvement significantly in that player. And I feel like Deming was the guy that went from I'm not getting hardly any reps the first day of practice to really standing out today. There was a rep where his responsibility was defending the flat, and the play goes inside, the ball's thrown over the middle, and he runs to the play regardless, which is an awesome trait. Sometimes you see cornerbacks just kind of stay in their zone, but he runs to the play. Love a guy that always wants to run to the play, be around the ball, that sort of thing. And sure enough, lo and behold, the ball comes out. I think it was the tight end. I can't remember which one. Tight end drops the ball, and Deming scoops it up. And I just hear the coaches yelling, "Run, run." Because it is still like a practice setting. Like you don't know if the drill's over or not, but he got up and finished the play, navigated traffic. In the practice situation, he would have been down in an actual game, but returned that, had a really good moment. I thought he almost had another interception where the ball was thrown a little bit behind, and he was just kind of right place, right time, and lunged for the interception, almost had it, looked really good today. Good size, and man, I cannot stress this enough. We've talked about it all week. The Titans need corners. They're going to need to attack the position in multiple stages. It's worth paying attention to these corners down here. Deming is a guy that I look to play a lot in the game on Saturday.
Yes.
And I'm hoping he really makes the most of this momentum that he's built after today's practice.
And that's what's really about, is like building on even the bad days and turning them into good. And for Charles Demings, I mean, I have the feeling that the Tennessee Titans are going to be heavily involved in the cornerback class for this draft class.
I mean, he's just long dude, looks big, like has the physical presence that you look for in an outside corner. It's just a matter of getting him up to speed at this level of competition. But in just 3 days to get to a point where we're saying, like, why is this guy even here, to holy shit, he was a standout today.
Yeah.
That's encouraging. That's awesome. That's what you like to see in one of these small school prospects.
Well, and also when you think about the Tennessee Titans, I mean, they need starters, but they also need to develop, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
If you can develop a starter from because he's obviously a day 3 pick. Nothing that he has done this week has shown us that he is going to be a day 2 guy.
Yeah.
But if you're sitting there with one of your 5th or one of your 6th round picks and you still need a cornerback, this is a guy that I'd be looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take the chance maybe more on him than I would a Dalen Everett, who's maybe the same kind of deal.
Had a rough week this week too.
Yeah. So
but has the brand recognition from Georgia.
Right. Right. So I kind of look at it like that. Like I'm looking also like at Ephesians price sock as well as these guys that could be available on day 3. Because look at what the Tennessee Titans did with the wide receiver position last year. They double dipped in that round,
day 3.
And why couldn't you do that at the cornerback position?
I don't know, because this is a loaded cornerback class,
especially with the coaching staff you have.
Yeah, and there's probably not, there's probably not a guy that's like this generational cornerback at the top of the class, but I think there are a couple of really good guys at the top of the class. But the meat of this class is in these like big, long dudes that are probably going to be day 3 guys. Like there's a ton of developmental value, is what I would call it. Developmental value in this cornerback class. And I don't think that would be a terrible strategy at all to double up on this position on day 3.
Okay, so who else caught your eye from the national team? Should I ask you a question because someone has a question about someone on the national team?
Sure, go for it.
What are your thoughts on of what you've seen from Nick Singleton this
Nick
week?
Singleton, perfectly fine. I mean, he's got like the wide frame. He's got the good build. I wouldn't say he's done anything that's really popped. I actually think it's his teammate Katron Allen that's finally getting to kind of step out from that Penn State offense and show his speed, his quick feet, how nimble he is carrying the ball. Nick Singleton, I thought, man, the national running back class to me is really, I don't want to say head and shoulders, but it's pretty decisively better than the American group, in my opinion. And that might be kind of controversial, but Nick Singleton, I think, is a pretty smooth runner, got the wide frame, good build for the position. He is built to be a workhorse in the NFL. I don't know if he'll get that opportunity or not, but I don't think he's done anything to hurt his stock this week at all.
Titanomics says, thank you, gentlemen, for this info and all that you do for us fans.
Man, Titanomics is what awesome guy.
Okay, so
awesome guy.
Real quick, going back to some national team guys that caught your eye.
How rapid fire do you want me going here? Because
it depends on how quick you want to eat.
I've jotted down. Oh, well, in that case, Thaddeus Dixon, 2 interceptions, good size, patient mirror.
You go a little bit slower.
A little slower than that. Talking about the running backs, since we were just mentioning them, Keyshawn Owens, this kid out of Florida International, caught my eye a couple of times today. And if I haven't said it on this show before, Thursday is usually the day when we're down here that I try to prop my feet up a little bit, relax a little, walk around practice. I'm not so hyper-focused on one group. I'm just kind of taking a look here, taking a look there, a few minutes at a time, and seeing who catches my eye. Keyshawn Owens out of Florida International was one of those guys, really soft hands. He's a very natural mover. If I need to clarify that, let me know. But it's like you don't see the guy like stopping and starting awkwardly. There's flow to his game, and I really like that. I like the way he's built. He's a good mover. Had a really good catch out of the backfield in the team drills today. Adam Randall, we've talked about. His combination of size and athleticism seems pretty rare.
All of a sudden, you don't see him. Like, he gets the ball. I mean, what is he, like 6'2"? Isn't he something crazy like that?
I think he's 6'2", 233.
Yeah. So he gets the ball, and then all of a sudden he just shrinks.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden you see his explosion. He's down the field. Yeah, specifically
awesome.
in this week.
He can catch the ball. They had him running wheel routes, catching over the shoulder passes. He can pass pro. Like, this is a guy that I'm starting to look at like maybe a little two-tone blue in his future wouldn't hurt.
Titans are just in such a weird position currently, roster-wise, to potentially draft a running back.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it's just, and that sucks because I think there's some good ones here, like Mike Washington Jr. as well.
Yeah.
Is another guy that's really caught my eye, but it just doesn't seem that running back is in the cards for the Titans in this draft.
Yeah.
Unless it's Jeremiah Love. Like, that would be the guy that would change your arithmetic, but they may just stick it out. If they still have Tony Pollard, Khalil Mullins, and Tyjae Spears when we're heading into the draft, I just don't see them drafting one unless they truly were drafting best player available. That kind of sucks, though.
I'm kind of we might have to chew on that one because we got plenty of time before the draft.
Right.
But I talk about the prospects of them drafting a running back. O-line, getting to watch those guys move around a little bit today was awesome. Some guys that I don't think we've talked about enough. I would mention Jalen Farmer, Demetrius Crownover, and Keelan Rutledge, but we've talked about those guys all this week. To highlight a couple that we haven't, Bo Stevens, I thought, had a really good day today.
He put Lee Hunter in the ground. Yeah, I mean, like literally in the competes, put him. I think he grabbed him by the shoulder pads or just. I don't know, maybe he big brothered him where he just shoved him. But all of a sudden you see Lee Hunter, then you see him on the ground, then you see Bo Stevens looking at him.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. He's a big, long, stretched out lineman.
The Iowas, for Bustin' Diamond, the Iowa boys had a good day today.
Yeah, because Dunker, I made a couple notes. Good glide and balance. Took on T.J. Parker's long arm, which is one of his signature moves. They kind of struggled picking up the stunts. They ran a drill today where they had the defensive lineman practicing the stunts, and the offensive lineman from Iowa kind of struggled to pick that one up. But I thought Bo Stevens had a great day. Had some reps at center.
Yep.
had some reps at left guard, offering a little versatility along the interior there. I also want to talk about
Thaddeus Dixon had 2 interceptions today.
That's what Drew told me. Yeah,
I knew he had the one.
I only saw one, but Drew told me he had 2. So if that's not accurate, somebody go yell at Drew.
I mean, average good week. When you're talking about like Scoobs asking, how are the cornerbacks looking? Like if you walked away with Thaddeus Dixon and Charles Demings in day 3, I would think you're pretty good.
I would be okay with
like
that.
There's just a lot of day 3 corners here that I would have faith with this particular staff to develop.
Yeah, I want to talk about this center out of Dartmouth,
okay.
Delby Lemieux. We haven't talked about him a lot.
Mario Lemieux's kid.
I cannot verify that. Talking same vein as Charles Deming, like a guy that kind of gets here on Tuesday, looks a little out of sorts, looks a little out of his depths, but just shows up, keeps practicing his ass off, and then comes in on Thursday and just caught my eye several times with his technique, which I heard a bar on Twitter from Cody Alexander earlier today that was technique is your floor, talent is your ceiling. So talk about raising a floor. Lemieux looked great today. He's got a naturally low center of gravity. You're going to look at the guy and you're going to say he's too small to play in the NFL. He does have kind of a slighter frame for the position, but man, I thought he was a good move guy, gets his feet wide, gets his hands inside. He gets up under these defensive linemen and gets that leverage on them and runs down the middle, like good aim, just good, smooth moving. I'm stoked to watch him in the game on Saturday as well. Just wanted to shine some light on him. Let's. I was going to say Diego Pavia, but there's a big conversation to have. Let's save that for tomorrow's show.
Okay, we're going to talk about Diego Pavia tomorrow.
Yeah, let's do that. I want to mention Bud Clark had a hell of an interception today. Alan Heron, really strong prospect, but moves well as well. The tackle out of Maryland, and yes, I'm still talking about
he left the field. I meant to text you. He left the field during practices. He came back onto the field. At least the sidelines towards the end of practice before I walked past you guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be at the game on Saturday. I'm a little worried.
Bummer. You just ruined my night.
I don't know. I just I want you to be able to prepare for it.
Thank you. Tight ends we haven't talked a lot about. Tanner Cozy Oil. I don't know if that's right. Cozy Oil.
I have a Tanner Cozy Oil thing.
High point touchdown.
Oh yeah, that's why I just tweeted about it.
High point touchdown was a thing of beauty today. And then DeAndre Rogers, the kid out of TCU. I told you today, seeing him up close and in person, I'm like, this guy looks like he was built in a lab to play tight end.
If there's one thing I can do is look at tight ends.
Hey, there he is. Looks the part. And what I noticed today, a few inline reps in team drills where he was just getting his feet set, getting his feet wide, squaring up, and just blocking the fuck out of whoever was in front of him. So that was encouraging, kind of seeing a total package emerge out of DeAndre Rogers. And Cole Payton, we haven't talked a lot of quarterbacks down here. I love the way the ball flies out of Cole Payton's hands, the kid from North Dakota State. He looked good today as well. The last thing I want to mention, we've talked about with the national practice, we've talked about it on this show, how Demetrius Crownover and Romello Height was like appointment viewing yesterday, and the styles matchup that they had. Well, lo and behold, Zach, who got voted to do one of the 3 compete reps at the end of practice?
It was Demetrius Crownover and Romello Height
going one-on-one, and Crownover won 3-0 for the O-line in those drills with Crownover getting the win over Romello Height, Bo Stevens over Lee Hunter that you mentioned earlier, and then Jennings Dunker against I don't remember who, but good day for the O-line. They've really answered the bell this week after struggling early on Tuesday.
I was going to talk about what we kind of gleaned from the Giants Nation show last night and about these wide receivers, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow as well. We'll do a kind of like a philosophical discussion podcast tomorrow, since we'll have the game on Saturday, and we'll also be live after the game. So there you guys go.
I love that.
When it came to the wide receivers today, I don't know if you were able to watch any of them. I kind of felt like the wide receivers in at least the national team didn't really pop as much as they have the last few days.
I would agree with that. And Drew chimes in, Dunker over Parker.
There you go.
It was TJ Parker that got the rep. Yeah, I would agree. Like, I kind of felt like this was a good day for the cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Specifically in the national team practice too. Yeah, because I jotted down
the
few.
American team was a little bit more driven by the quarterbacks being so bad.
Oh,
but
that was rough day.
I felt like on the national team, it felt like the corners really kind of came together.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I think that's a fair assessment.
Okay, let's go to the American day, the American team day 3. Zion Young. Today is just, I call it like, I heard Todd McShay talk about how he's just, a wild man out there.
He's
like
a beast.
And I saw it today because I haven't really been able to pay as much attention to. Typically on my day 3, we almost swap positions.
Yeah.
And so I was watching Zion Young and I wrote down unrestrained rabidness. Like, he's basically a dog that's had rabies, that hasn't eaten in 3 days, and you finally let him off the chain towards a steak.
Yeah.
And like, that's what it felt like. Or
Dog.
a feral raccoon
Dog.
that is also hocked up on crystal meth and Viagra. Just like, that's what he is.
It's awesome.
Like, it's insane because I never really felt like that was his tape. Almost like it is and it wasn't. Like, it felt to me as that motor and energy, like that frenetic energy, was inconsistent. But down here, it has been relentless.
Yeah.
And I use the word relentless because that was the word that was used to describe Robert Saleh. And I kind of feel like I know he wasn't down here, and I know they're watching tape because you can watch the tape, so you don't really even have to be at practice.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a dude right there. Like, Derek Moore, I put down, is the model of consistency, whereas Zion Young is just chaos in human form.
Yeah. It's awesome, man. You just got to get him to bend in. You got to get him to bend in. Like, the quarterback's in the middle. You can run through these motherfuckers' faces. You got to turn in to get the sacks. I like Zion Young. As a matter of fact, I did a video for Easton that he might not appreciate me spoiling on Football and Other F Words, but talking about like my flag plants for the Titans this draft. And my thing was they need to double dip at edge. They can solve their edge problem with a double dip in this draft class. Our buddy Drew at Iron City Film asked me in the bleachers, like, okay, well, if they do that and they do spend 2 of their first 3 picks on an edge rusher, who would be your guys? And I said, I'm thinking probably David Bailey at 4, and then probably get Zion Young with one of those other 2 picks. So I like the fit with the mentality, and stylistically from what we've seen successful under Robert Saleh, Zion Young kind of fits the mold of this power rusher that is just a complete and utter maniac.
Yeah, so it's interesting because if you look at, from a perspective of at least this, I preach this all the time. Tackles for losses in the college level is one of the biggest indicators and basically data points that correlates to sacks at the NFL.
Love that.
And David Bailey is 19.5 tackles for loss. Akeem Mesidor is 17.5 tackles for loss. And Zion Young, who, by the way, did not play in the college football playoffs, has 16.5 tackles for losses.
That's insane.
His average depth of tackle compared to the top guys that are in the class and the guys here at the Senior Bowl is the best, 0.7 average depth of tackle. And then his run stop rate is also second best in here at 9.3. So not only is he's getting tackles for losses and getting in the backfield, he's also making stops at pretty much the line of scrimmage as well.
Yeah.
And for me, there's a lot of untapped potential there with him. And when you kind of look at maybe his size, he doesn't seem too big, but he is 6'5", and I don't really feel like he looks 6'5", but he is 6'5", 262. That is a sweet spot of size for Zion Young.
He's a dude. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I think he's made himself some money this week. I don't know where he's at on the consensus board. I feel like the last time I looked,
he's actually bet higher than Derek Moore. I know that. I think he's in the 40s. Yeah, so I think you were right. You would have to get him in the second round.
The last I checked, he was 67, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So I think stock up on Zion Young, but I wouldn't I wouldn't hate it one bit. Any more defensive ends you wanted to talk
I'm about to lose power on my laptop, apparently. So
Okay,
you
so
keep
just
talking.
go quick. All right, the rest of my guys from the American practice. I do want to shout out Rowdy's in the chat. Rowdy hit me up earlier about Jake Slaughter, so I made an effort to watch him a little bit today. Immediate hands off the snap, which if you're watching a center, like it's not the easiest thing to do to snap the ball and then look up and get your hands on the guy in front of you. I thought he was really explosive. I thought he had some burst. There's a rep during the team drills where he stood up Nick Barrett, the stocky South Carolina defensive tackle. I thought it was encouraging. And looking at this center class, I don't know that there's one guy, maybe Sam Hecht. I know people liked Connor Liu before he got injured. Not really sure where his stock is at right now. It's more of a class where you take a guy to develop for the future than it is finding an immediate starter on the offensive line. And I think Slaughter's a guy that would absolutely be in play for the Titans should they want to start thinking about a contingency plan for Lloyd Cushenberry. So it was awesome to watch him do his thing. Markel Bell, I think, has improved from the rep that he got destroyed on from Derek Moore that went viral earlier in the week. This guy's put a solid week of practice together. I thought he did specifically. I thought he did a good job of getting low on some of the plays because this is a guy that is like 6'9" or something like that. So you want to talk about pad level up in the clouds. Sometimes it's hard for those guys to get down and meet the rusher on their level, so they're not out leveraged. But I thought Bell did a good job of that today. Skylar Thomas, the safety out of Oregon State, had another safety in practice. This kid, Devin Voisin, this wide receiver, the slot guy out of South Alabama, the hometown kid that's down here, he's got some moves. He's a name to watch in the game on Saturday as well. I just jotted down QB Wolf. Out of this because the quarterback struggled today. Julian Neal had a physical high point pass breakup on Barry and Brown in the back corner of the end zone. I thought he's looked good. He's another one of these guys that's just like big and tall. He was kind of quiet earlier in the week, but had a good practice today. Another option for the Titans there, maybe with that second round pick. I don't know. Julian Neal's stock is up this week. Kalen Black, Mike Washington Jr., Jaden Ott. I wanted to mention them from the running back position. They all stood out today. But most importantly, Zach, today was the Dan Villari legacy game. So
it was.
Where were you for the Dan Villari, 2 touchdowns today, I think he had?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, tight end out of not Illinois, but Syracuse.
Okay, so since I was
oh, shit, I didn't even mention the one guy I absolutely wanted to mention the most.
Well, who was it before you get into it?
Cyrus Allen. This dude is open all the fucking time. The slot receiver, X guy, they had him lined up all over the field. It didn't matter who was in front of him. He was getting open. This is a guy, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati, that has some separation ability against these corners down here that nobody's talking about. And I think, I don't know. They're just not throwing the ball to him. So I'm watching these reps and I'm like, he's 5 yards behind the cornerback and they're just not throwing the ball to him. So I think that's why nobody's talking about him, because he doesn't have the production. He doesn't have the catches this week, the viral clips. But this is a guy that's getting open on just about every rep that I'm paying attention to.
Okay, so besides Cyrus Allen, can you tell me everybody you talked about? So because since I was scrambling and wasn't listening, you don't tell me what you said, but just tell me who you talked about.
Cyrus Allen, Jake Slaughter, Markel Bell, Dan Villari legacy game, Skylar Thomas, Devin Voisin, Julian Neal, Kalen Black, Mike Washington Jr., Jaden Ott, and the quarterbacks in the American team.
So did you mention what McShay said about Voisin?
I did not, no.
Okay, so McShay, for those that may not watch the Todd McShay report or whatever it's called, it's really good, by the way. And it's going to be on Netflix here soon, which is kind of interesting. But he said that Voisin, the reason why he started falling in love with Voisin is because when they were heading up to the line, he is basically telling all the other wide receivers, these SEC wide receivers, these big name wide receivers. He's from little South Alabama, just right here.
USA.
And he is telling them how to correctly run the stem the way the quarterback wants it and all that kind of stem his routes and do this and do that. And that really went a long way with Todd McShay, that this guy could be something for a team.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw that out there. We're going to talk more about the smaller I guess you would say, smaller wide receivers tomorrow.
Yeah.
But you did mention Julian Neal. Your friend Evan popped up and was talking
Shout
to
out
us.
Evan, yeah.
And he asked him, has Ted Hurst been getting open? I said, yes and no. I mean, like, he's getting open, but then when he faces he's been facing Julian Neal a lot.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot. He's not creating a lot of space.
Yeah, which is something, as a sidebar, we've made note of this week as well, is that the Senior Bowl seems to be doing, the coaches seem to be doing a good job of kind of organizing the matchups based on like draft stock, like where these guys are at in the class, talent on talent. Ted Hurst on Julian Neal is a marquee matchup.
And Julian Neal, I feel like, wins. I mean, I know that Ted Hurst made that insane catch. I guess he must have caught it off the back of Julian Neal or something. Yeah. But Julian Neal's already been there. I mean, he has good hands at the line of scrimmage, good coverage from the line of scrimmage down the field, but sometimes he can't find the ball. And, he gets beat on slants here and there. He gets called for holding because he's a little grabby. He's a physical player.
A lot of those physical guys
but
are like
that.
He
can stay over the top in cover 3 with a good pedal break. And, for me, it's just like, I think you could talk me into Julian Neal at number 2.
At number 2 overall?
Sorry, the second round.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, second round.
Let's fucking go. Let's do it right now.
I think you could talk me into him in the second round because I feel like he's a big physical corner, and that's what this team needs. They need more physical guys at the point of attack that can also run with guys. I mean, he can run with Ted Hurst.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're getting the blood flowing, yeah.
I tell you what, Cameron Ball.
This shocks me.
I'm not the biggest fan of Ball. You're not the biggest fan of Cameron Ball, but I thought he had a pretty good day yesterday. And I'm watching him today, and he's getting into the backfield. He's kind of knifing through. He's winning some one-on-ones. He's doing the drills over there, and he's winning. And then I see him over at the trash cans, over at the dummies with the huge-ass hula hoops. And my God, he's got the grace and agility of a swan in the body of a baby rhino.
He is built like a baby rhino. I love that comp. I didn't love the tape. So honestly, this is my hand up, full transparency here. I kind of discarded him a little bit. Like, I didn't make a lot of notes watching him because I'd already watched the tape on him heading into Mobile and kind of thought, this just looks like a guy. But I will fully admit, he has exceeded my expectations. I'm not going to dog the kid just because I had some preconceived notion of him. I thought this guy, he's played his ass off the last couple of days in practice. So good for him. I think he's improving his draft stock for sure.
Grayson Halton popped a few times again. I think he's a guy that's really helped his stock. He's a defensive lineman out of Oklahoma.
Dancing to getting jiggy with it before yesterday's practice started. So.
Did you talk about Xavier Sori?
I did not.
Okay,
no,
so this could be the second day in a row that we talked about Xavier Sori, the linebacker.
That's 32?
That's 32.
32, yeah. He's a penetrator.
Oh, my gosh.
Penetrator against the run.
I know Kyle Lewis gets a lot of the stuff. I know that Jack Kelly, Jacob Rodriguez are 3 guys that get a lot of the press and publicity.
Mm-hmm.
I'd put Xavier Sori's week up there with all of them.
Yeah, no complaints about that.
He had some fumbles yesterday that he recovered and created. I mean, I think he even had an interception yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think one of the Arkansas. There's like
he had a good compete
Arkansas
yesterday,
guys here,
and today he was all over the map. I mean, you could put him wherever you need to. I mean, that guy just makes plays,
which is a sneaky need for the Titans that I can't imagine they're going to invest premium capital in obtaining. So you are probably looking at these guys like the 32 from Arkansas. I've already forgotten his fucking name. I'm a mess right now.
Sorry.
I would also say
think of Canadian. Sorry.
Okay. Keyshawn Elliott as well out of Arizona State. And then a guy that I'm eager to watch after a good week of practice is Jacob Elarmzor out of TCU. Rangy kind of guy. Has some good length. That is something going on. Do we have breaking news?
I'm just saying it's about damn time that someone hired Ian Cunningham.
Oh, Atlanta?
Atlanta finally hired their general manager, and I love me some Ian Cunningham.
Yeah. So I think this linebacker group, if they address it in the draft, will definitely be like a day 3 thing. But I definitely think there are some guys around day 3 grades that are going to be available that you could develop into a nice linebacker under Robert Saleh.
And I know that Drew, and this is the final guy I'll really talk about, because we'll save a majority of our wide receiver talk for tomorrow. But Tyreek Sapp today,
Yeah.
and you mentioned him, I think, on yesterday's show or Tuesday's show. But I saw him today, and I'm like, who is number 11?
Man, he
that
looks
guy
the
was
part
everywhere.
Yeah, and I just don't know. I don't know what he is in the NFL. That's the only thing I can't figure out.
Yeah, because he does look like an edge rusher.
No, does he line up is inside? Is he big enough to take on NFL offensive linemen as a defensive tackle? But does he have the juice to go outside? Does he have the range to run with tackles and all that? Like he's kind of a really interesting tweener guy, but I just love the way he's built, and I love how smoothly he moves.
Because I get maybe the 11 throws me off, but he's 6'3". He's 263. I don't know. He looks like a safety to me for some reason.
He is kind of built like a safety. Yeah,
it's a really strange thing. The metrics are not going to be kind to him, but sometimes you just got to throw the metrics out the window. I feel like if this dude is super athletic, which I think he's going to end up testing very well. And with the week that we saw today, maybe the game will tell us a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's lived up to this level of competition that you typically see. Now, he is SEC, so he sees a lot of guys. I don't know. There's something about him, at least today, the way his motor always is on and running.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Like the Nuss bus could use his motor right now because that Nuss bus is dead.
Drew had the line of the day in the stands just saying they've ripped the transmission out of the Nuss bus at this point. Yeah,
no doubt.
It has been pretty brutal. I honestly think at least today, I'd have to go back and watch the tape. I still haven't watched the quarterback tape from the first 2 days. Today, Garrett Nussmeier was the third best quarterback out of 3 on his team.
Yes.
I think Taylon Green and Luke Altmaier were both better than he was today.
And they weren't that great today. But I would say that Garrett Nussmeier is kind of who I've kind of seen on tape for a while, that I've been trying to tell people this is the Garrett Nussmeier. There's a reason why Garrett Nussmeier, after 2024, decided to go back. You saw it in the Netflix documentary, because what did Brian Kelly say? If you're getting paid like a round 3 quarterback, why don't you just come? If they tell you that you're going to get paid like a round 3 quarterback, why don't you just come back to school and get paid the same amount of money? And he came back and got paid the same amount of money, and he was worse because all of his supporting cast got worse.
Well, there you have it.
There you go. Anybody else?
I want to head to the chat for a quick second. Are we wrapped up for the day?
We're wrapped up.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words, Rowdy. Appreciate that. But Hurricane Lou says something that I think is really important about this week. He says, one really cool thing, y'all are watching dudes literally change the fate of their family trees out there this week. So tremendous for them personally, good or bad. I think that is important perspective to bring up about this event. Like, we're having fun. We're watching these guys go to work, but it is a really cool thing. I'm not sure whose relatives they were, but we had a pack of relatives next to us when we were. I think
they were Crownovers relatives.
I think they were Demetrius Crownovers.
Or the new Texas A&M kid that showed up today.
Yeah. Somebody was there wearing Texas A&M gear, and just like you get to see those moments. I'm going to try not to choke up, but football makes me emotional. But you see those moments. You see those moments where it's like, that's just a proud family watching their son and thinking about where that young man is at in this stage of his life and how much is on the line at an event like this, how much money he can make for himself. And Crownover is a guy that has made himself a fuck ton of money this week. It's a really special thing. Yeah, it made me cry. And a special thing to witness, to see that sort of thing. It's not just about the X's and O's and the performance on the field, but to see these guys come down here, pour their heart and soul out on the field, lay it all on the line for the chance to make something for themselves. It's just a really cool thing to witness. So I'm glad Lou brought that up. Shout out Lou.
There you go. All right. Thanks to Lions Ford, lionsford.net, Lewisburg, Tennessee. Drive a little, save a lot. They'll save you all the money they can, give you every rebate you qualify for. They'll give you the most bang for your buck. They'll do whatever they can to make sure that you walk away a satisfied customer. For Stoney Keeley, I'm Zach Lyons. This is Football and Other F Words, and you have just been effed.